Right, as promised, I'm going to take my hat off for this. I mean business, you see. So I'll take my glasses off. As I said, can't really read with them on. So I asked people to ask questions that they may want of myself and Hazel the other
I feel
day.
like you should let me look at these questions first.
There's nothing
Before I
bad
had some
there.
answers
There's
prepared.
nothing bad there.
Right.
You don't, if you're preparing answers, that's not good, is it? You don't want to prep answers. I've looked at some, but they're okay. I wouldn't even put you into
We might not
what's going
get
on
through
here.
all of them.
No thanks. Right, okay. So I ask people if they want questions, and the first one that Ceridwen asked us, her question is Hazel a runner?
Yeah.
Because as Ceridwen, I think what
I don't
Ceridwen
think
means
that's how you
is
pronounce her name.
Ceridwen. It's she's a pagan goddess.
Okay.
Right. Yes, you are a runner, aren't you?
I am.
But
yeah.
very seldom mentions it, which is why I guess you've asked the question. Right, okay, so now there's a question from Damon here, Nina, the ambulance camper, and other stories. Great channel, go and have a look at it. And it is,
Damon.
has there ever been a crossover between your day working job with animals and your night working job of ghost hunting? If so, what's the story? I think this is for me.
There's a spider about to go on your hat, by the way. It's stuck in all the wall.
I like spiders.
I know, I do as well. I'm just telling you so that you don't.
It's fine. I won't squish him. I'll put it to one side. You're railroading.
Sorry.
You're drawing me off into a different direction. It's very cute. Right. So, yes, Damon, there definitely has been. I was a zookeeper I still am, to all intents and purposes, but I was a zookeeper at a family zoo for many, many, many years in Hertfordshire. And the zoo in question was built on, I know you hear these stories, this was built on a plague pit, and that, okay, this was built, can I have a tea, please? Oh, okay. This was built on a plague pit, that was built on a plague pit, you hear lots of them, but actually our zoo was actually built, or the theatre was built on top of where a plague pit was, and there was also a second plague pit opposite it that was used obviously during the Black Death and the plague and what have you. And there was a couple of stories there. One was a friend of mine called Jodie. She was a keeper and still is at a different facility now. And she was cleaning up. It was called Jungle Theatre, and she was cleaning up Jungle Theatre one evening, and it was getting dusk, as is the case with most good ghost stories, and it's the case with my story as well. And what we did, we had what was called a lock-up, and different keepers did lock-ups each night. But Jodie was in charge of Jungle Theatre because that was her main area of working. So subsequently, she was closing up one evening. Everybody sort of gone, and she was sweeping up, checking everything for safety, and turned the lights out. And there was these things like bleachers. They're sets of seats that are staggered, so you can kind of see through them, but you can't get a full picture of what's behind them. Depending on what angle you're at. And she was cleaning and she heard somebody come in, and she was down on the floor and she looked and she said, "Oh, I'm sorry, we're closing up for the evening," not actually thinking that why was somebody there at that time of evening anyway. And the one thing that seemed off to her afterwards, but didn't seem off to her at the time, is that she saw these like leather boots, I think it was, and a long black flowing cape, and she never thought anything of it. And then as she looked up, the person still kept walking backwards and forwards at the other side of the bleachers, and she didn't think. As she got up and looked through to see if she could get a proper view, there was nothing above the line that she saw. There was nothing above the boots. So she looked down again, the boots were still there, looked up again, and it was gone. Now, this story has been entered in a lot of paranormal books in Hertfordshire because it's a proper bona fide incredible story. And also, in that same theatre, a friend of mine, very, very good friend of mine, who sadly passed away, a young guy, brilliant zookeeper, he had some of the same activity that I'd experienced there as well. I'd experienced it after him. It was only when I said it to him, he said, "That's really weird, Dan, because that happened to me." And I was doing lock-up one night in winter, so it was pitch black, about 6 o'clock in the evening, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the evening, everybody more or less gone, and I was going around with my pen and paper and my board, all official, doing lock-up. And I went into Jungle Theatre, checked it all out, closed the front doors, turned the lights off, went behind the stage, checked everything there, and I thought, okay, that's great. Turned the lights off, and as I just turned around, I could hear a door handle going up and down, up and down, up and down. And I thought, okay, I don't know. I didn't really give it much thought as to it being paranormal. I just thought, okay, it's one of the keepers maybe hiding behind, buggering around. So I went up to the door, and the door led into a side room, and I unlocked it, opened it quickly, pulled it open, nothing there. The room was probably, I don't know, maybe 7 foot by about 5. It wasn't massive. There was nothing in there really, just some props and stuff. And I thought, okay. So I closed the door again, went to walk away, and then I saw, not only heard it, I saw the handle going up and down. It was really done with some force. And I rushed back, unlocked it again, opened it up, nothing there. So I thought, right, okay, I don't know what's going on here. It's definitely something untoward, something unusual, something, for the want of a better description, paranormal. And I left the door unlocked, and I turned the light out, and I walked back ever so slightly towards where the door was, so that I would be in grasping distance of it. And the door surely and truly started going up and down again. And I quickly grabbed hold of the handle, pulled it out and pulled it open. Nothing there again. So I closed up and made my way back, and it was only after speaking to my friend who'd had those experiences himself previously that I realised that it was an ongoing activity. And it turns out that they think that the leather boots and the cape had belonged to a local vicar or reverend that was overseeing the interment of the mass grave of the bodies. So that was quite, thank you, darling.
There's a shot in it.
Is it? I don't really drink, so. Right, so that's that one. And that went on for a long while, sorry. Okay. Let's have a look. 4 psychic gifts, or whether or not you believe in them. I find that. So this is from
Why am I sitting there? What question's for you?
Elf Locker's Dream. The Elf Locker's Dream. And she asks, I am a recent subscriber to your channel and look forward to your vlogs because you never know what you're going to get. Haha. Very true with us. We're very eclectic. Which brings me to a question regarding the 4 psychic gifts and whether or not you believe in them.
What?
I find that Hazel knows nothing about this. I find that I tend to experience claircognizance and clairsentience the most. Do you find that you yourself are particularly lean towards any of them? None at all. I thought I'd ask because of your love of ghost hunting. No, I haven't got any. None at all. Do I believe in them? Absolutely, I believe in them. Yeah, I definitely believe in them. I think that everybody's got access to those abilities, but it's finding the right key to access them. Sure, there are certain things that I've gone with a gut feeling. I'm sure you have as well, and they've turned out to be. Don't worry. There are certain things that I've gone with a gut feeling.
Yes.
They've turned out to be well. I have heard things. I've heard my name called, and it's always from behind me.
I knew you didn't listen to me.
There you go. And Hazel actually has been subject to a couple of the times when I've heard that. You've even heard one in the bedroom, didn't you?
Oh yeah, that's true. That was
It was a little girl, wasn't it? Do you remember that? When she said, "Are you asleep yet?"
I don't remember that. I do remember one in the lounge.
It was early morning. I come back from a ghost hunt, and I hadn't cut ties, I hadn't closed down, so I'd left myself wide. It wasn't Willow. She was far too young at the time. Left myself wide open, and right by the side of my bed, I heard her. Are you asleep? Are you awake yet?
Was it a voice like
You
this?
heard it because I said to you, and you said to me, "What the F was that?" So I remember it clearly. It was early morning. It was about 4 a.m.
No memory.
So, anyway, that was one of those things that happened. Yes, I completely believe in them. I completely believe everybody's got access to them, but it depends on. I think it's all a matter of vibrations and whether you can bring your like seeing into the spirit world, whether you can align your vibrations well enough to actually make that link. But I'm no expert, so that's my belief anyway. So thank you for that question. Now we've got some here from Daryl and Keith from Campervan Tales. Hazel, what first attracted you to Dan?
You used to be cool.
I'm not anymore. I used to be quite
It
cool.
was when you used to look after the wolves at the zoo.
It wasn't. She was after my wolves. She wasn't after me.
I don't know what it was. There was something. It wasn't anything in particular. But I remember.
That makes me feel great.
I remember when we first met. I remember very distinctly thinking that I could quite happily get married to you.
And I remember distinctly thinking, "Oh my God, she's a stalker." No,
I don't know what it was with you. You thought I had loads of money.
Yeah, it was that. It was that. I must admit, I'm not going to lie. I thought she was rolling in dough. Sorry about that. Gary phoned me. Sorry, I've had to cut you off, Gary. I will phone you back after this. So yeah, it was a case of I thought she had plenty of dough, but clearly she didn't.
So I do know.
So I leapt before I thought there, didn't I? And landed up in deep water. Yeah. So no, she was that's a question. Oh right, okay. Dan, what first attracted you to Hazel? The fact that she thought she had money.
Just some money.
No, she was great. She was at university at the time. And she was coming into the zoo, and you were doing sort of part-time, weren't you?
I think I was doing the holidays, and then I used to come back at weekends, didn't I? I did the summer, and then stayed at the weekends over the winter.
She tried to do my job once, which was educating the public at schools.
Oh no, it was terrible.
What
it was so bad.
She effed it up. She thought my job was a piece of cake, doing wildlife education.
No, they made me do it. I didn't want to do it. They made me go and do it.
Had to go back and apologise.
I
Sent me after to clean the mess.
It was terrible.
It was awful. I was profusely apologetic. But no, the first thing that attracted me to her was, I don't know, she was just lovely.
Just one of those
She's still
things.
lovely, but
You're all right.
I'm okay. Well, what, you just wonder, you can remember what attracted you to me. Where was your first date? Oh, I remember that very well. That was with, again, my mate Gary, who passed away, bless him, and he was his fiance at the time, but became his wife, is Sally, who is one of our dearest friends. I love Sally to pieces, and I've known Sally since she was at university. I think she was 18 when I first knew her.
We went to a pub in Hertford, didn't we?
A pub in Hertford, all the best places. I was a zookeeper. We didn't have a lot of money. What would you expect me to do? I couldn't wine and dine you. You understood that.
I could have taken you out with all the money that I had.
Yeah, theoretically you could have.
And I gave you a lift home after. And we had to stop by the cemetery up the A10, and then we went over to your house over the other side of the road.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. I had recently parted company with another lady.
No, it was a while after. It was
quite a while after.
It was a respectable time after.
And that was it really. If you could choose one place to go on holiday in the UK, where would it be?
Wait, where do you think I would say? And I'll say where I think you would say.
I think you'd say Wales because of your brother.
I would. You'd say Cornwall.
Yeah. Absolutely, Cornwall. You can get the boy out of the West Country. You can't take the West Country out of the boy, even though it's been over 100 years. My line of the family have been separated from it. You only have this. These are all from Daryl and Keith, and bless you guys, because without them we wouldn't have had many. You only
we've missed that one. Where would you choose if you could choose one place? This one. Where would you most like to go as a couple in the world? One place.
Just one place. Cornwall. Do you know what? I've not travelled extensively, but I've travelled a fair bit. And I've always loved being at home. I've always loved being back in the UK. I guess it's like wherever you come from, it's nice to get home, isn't it? And I think that, I don't know, I mean, it'd probably be in the UK, I guess. Anywhere in the world. I mean, there's lots of places that are amazing, lots of different cultures to see, to experience. But I quite like... When I say the UK, I mean England, Ireland, Scotland and Wales. And when I say Ireland, I mean the whole of Ireland, the north and the south. It's all beautiful. So, yeah, anywhere really in the UK. What about you?
I don't know, maybe like rainforest or something like that. Somewhere like a really spectacular holiday, like Sri Lanka maybe, somewhere like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Somewhere just beautiful that you've never seen anything.
So the answer is we wouldn't want a holiday
together.
Right, if you could live anywhere in the UK, where would it be? No, that wasn't live, was it?
No, it wasn't.
No.
This one what would dream job.
What would you both do as a dream job? As a dream job, and I did try it once, was to get my own wild canine education facility, which was mainly concentrating on wolves as the main animal, but in sort of incorporating other wild canids as well. And we got so far with that, didn't we?
Yeah.
We got backing from the guy who was the Channel 4 cameraman, because at the time, I don't know if they've got it now, Channel 4 didn't have a facility that would allow them to compete against the BBC, because they've got a fantastic wildlife filming unit, irrespective of what you think of the BBC, and I hate them. Channel that they have got amazing film wildlife unit, which is superb, never to be bettered, I don't think. But I think, yeah, my dream job would be to own or run a facility that was wild canids and have the opportunity to put my say into it. I've worked for so many different organisations where things have been done that I've not agreed with. I've had to go along with them because obviously it was my job. So I'd like something where I can implement my own ideas and also incorporate the ideas of other keepers, because there's a lot of ideas out there that are great that could be used, not just mine, other people's as well. What about you? What would your dream job be?
Something where I didn't have to work very hard and it paid me a lot of money, so we could have a beautiful house with a massive garden that we paid people to look after. Basically, I want to be a lottery winner. That would be my dream job.
No, what about a job though? What would you like to do for a job? Don't give me that crap. My job is so fulfilling already.
I quite like my job.
Yeah, she does actually. She does like her job.
It's helpful. I like my job.
Any job? No? That it? Lottery winner. Okay.
Lottery winner, yeah.
Hazel skirted the answers again.
I want to stop working.
Who's the tidiest out of you both?
It goes in fits and starts. As an overall rule, I'd say it's me, but then you have little moments where you get a bit OCD about stuff, and then like you'll clean the kitchen, and then nobody else is allowed to go in there.
Meticulous with being tidy, meticulous. Then I met Hazel because I was brought up in an environment where my mum was probably OCD a bit. I remember her cleaning all her stuff on a Sunday morning, windows wide open, me laying in bed freezing. There wasn't central heating at that time, irrespective of whether it was winter, summer, spring or autumn. And we lived near there was a woodland over the back of us and a river, and it was freezing, and didn't bother her because she was walking around listening to her records on the record player, and Jim Reeves and things like that, and Nat King Cole, who I love, and yeah, that was it really. So I've forgotten what the question was now.
It was about being tidy.
So I think that I was, but I'm not so much anymore. I think as I've got older now, I've also thought to myself, it's nice being tidy and clean. You need to be, absolutely. Our level of untidiness isn't that bad, is it?
It's not bad.
The kids is awful.
Kids
Anybody's got children, and you guys all know this, all of you, most of you, if not all of you, that it's like painting the Forth Bridge. You start at one end, by the time you get the other, you've got to go back again.
And you have a lot of stuff, like just stuff.
I have a lot of ghost hunting stuff.
No, you've got loads of stuff. You bought like loads of t-shirts and hats, like hats. How many bloody hats does one person
I
need?
love a hat, mate.
Hats and like all sorts of stuff. That's for the van. It never goes in the van. It sits on the kitchen table. So I have a tidy up every week, and anything Dan's left lying around gets shoved in a cupboard or shoved in the shed, and then he gets really annoyed because he can't find things. And I say, well, if you tidied it up,
mainly ghost hunting stuff, though, isn't it? It's mainly. It is mainly.
Your ghost hunting stuff is in the cupboard.
No, it's not. No, it's not. There's a load in that shed. There's tons of it. I've got thousands of pounds worth of paranormal hunting equipment.
The spare bedroom is full of your junk.
We're getting into a. Now look what you've done.
That wasn't the question, was it?
You brought on a domestic Daryl and Keith. Right.
Sake.
Right. You only have one meal left in the world. What would you each choose?
Chinese. Something Chinese.
Wow, that was quick.
Oh no, I love Chinese.
What, like?
Not like I cooked last night, actual Chinese, but not bat. Stop it, that's terrible. You didn't answer that. What would your meal be? Yours would be pizza.
No, it wouldn't actually. My last meal.
Not your last meal. Just if you
one meal left in the
meal.
world, what would you? Oh, okay. Oh, in that case, I know what I would have. Definitely, I would have chips, gravy, mushy peas, and a pie.
Slimming World chips or real chips?
No, real chips. Chips, gravy, mushy peas, pie.
What would you have in your pie?
I don't care, as long as it's meat.
With pastry around it.
With pastry around meat and pastry. I don't know.
How many tattoos do you both have?
Oh, do you know what? I've more than I care to count. I think.
I don't know.
Loads. I've got loads of them. Legs, neck, back, front, arms. Not feet quite yet. I'm done with tattoos now, to be honest. They're too expensive. I'm getting too old for them, and yeah.
And sometimes they balls up.
Yes, they do. When did Hazel take up running?
I'm not answering that one. I don't want to talk about running. Stupid idea.
She took up running when I first started following her.
It was a couple of years ago. Well, a couple of years ago. Yeah, probably. A couple of years
about
ago.
3 years, maybe.
Yeah, maybe
3 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
You thought she'd got better by now, but
Still rubbish.
Still doing the marathon. So that's it, really.
Are there nothing else underneath there?
No,
Is
that's
that it? That's not a question.
No, that's Daryl.
Is it?
Yeah, it's Daryl's again. Daryl.
Okay.
So that's it, really. I hope you found that enthralling,
Darren and Keith probably did.
exciting.
No one else asked any
No,
questions. So
but you know what? The good thing is they did ask questions, and we never got a video out of this.
That's true.
So thank you both,
very
Darren and
much.
Keith, and everybody else that asked a question.
Yes.
Keep sending questions in, and if we can compile them over the course of time, we'll get round to answering them. But there's some good questions there, actually. So I think that's it, isn't it? Right. Thanks very much, guys, and we'll speak to you later.
Yeah, I might build that bathroom cabinet.
Yes, good idea.
Fun.
Yeah. Now you've started, I've got to tell them what we've done. I bought a bathroom cabinet because the one that's wicker in our bathroom is getting old now. And it's
Not at all. It was our bathroom.
well, do you know
It's
what? It's just,
fine.
I'll just tell them. Anyway, they need to go through the minute of my life.
You don't really.
So there. Right, speak to you later, guys. Say bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Bye, everyone.